Hello folks. We're trying to get videos out. We've got a whole pile of Yellowstone, Teton National Parks, a couple of other ones from our trip out to Yellowstone. We're trying to get them out, but we're running into some problems. I gotta work on the trailer a little bit. If you haven't heard, for the third time I've lost a wheel bearing on a trailer, and this is definitely my fault. I meant to re-grease the bearings when I was at my son's before we went out to Yellowstone, and I just didn't. I was just lazy, too busy playing with the grandson and doing other things, and the trailer got up there okay. And but when I watched the guy fix it when it blew apart in Texas, I knew he didn't put it back together right. These people don't understand the way bearings and grease work, and so so I lost it again in New Mexico coming home from Yellowstone, and now I'm going to try to make sure that it's got plenty of grease and it's in a good situation so that I can make it to my next trip, which is probably down to Florida. Actually, I'm going to run out to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park for just a weekend. I'm collecting passport stamps. If you're not aware, the national parks have a passport book you can buy that has the 16 most popular national parks, and you can buy that, and then when you go to the parks, every national park has a place where you can get these stamps and stamp your passport like a regular passport would be stamped at neighbors. Like your regular passport would be stamped at your port of entry to the country. So I didn't buy the passport, I just bought a notebook with 57 pages in it, and I'm trying to get all the parks that I visit and enjoy stamped in there. If I can't, if it's not a national park and they don't have a national park stamp, then I'm going to the local post office and asking them if they'll cancel a page for me, and they do that. They're pretty nice about that. But so I'm going to go to Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and this weekend. Give me this ball. Somebody found a new ball in the yard, and being his normal, obnoxious, bothersome self, while I'm working on the trailer, he keeps dropping that ball at my feet, and then when I try to pick it up, he tries to get it before I get it. When I have a hammer in my hand, he doesn't come near me. Bring it over here. Bring it here. Put it there. Out. Mine. Come and get it. Come here. Your fans want to see you. Come here. Come here. If he doesn't knock the tripod over with the camera on it. He's been a pretty good dog. He's getting a little old though. He's having trouble getting in the car and trouble getting on the bed. I don't know if I played too hard with him, throwing the ball and making him jump over things and stuff like that, but I'm going to show you how I do this, and I've done a couple of videos on these. I'm not sure they're all right. Most of these small trailer axles have what they call an easy lube system on them, which means they have a channel through the spindle that then empties out into the back bearing. So you can put grease in them without taking the whole wheel apart. So I'm just taking my hammer and wedging it off, but this is the bearing that is all brand new from New Mexico. It doesn't smell real good. It smells pretty burned. And what happened is we were going down the highway in New Mexico. The highway speed limit I think is 80. And we were going around 65, 70. And this car came up beside us and was honking and yelling and screaming and everything. So we pulled over, and they pulled over just in front of us. And they yelled, "You're on fire!" So we went back and looked at the wheels, and this wheel was red hot. I mean, it was glowing in the dark. We were trying to make up some time. So we were driving after dark. And it was probably lucky because he did notice that the axle was glowing red under the car, and so we stopped and threw some water on it, and he actually emptied a fire extinguisher on it, which I don't think did it any good. But so the bearings were burned out, the brakes were just toast. They were get away from my camera. The brakes were ash, and so we needed all new everything. The springs on the brakes were detempered and soft, so they were broken. And let me put you down so you can see the wheel. You see the wheel is kind of like moved away from the rim. I don't know if that's because it was so hot, the rim got so hot that the tire kind of shrank, but it doesn't leak yet. It probably will. I do have a good spare though. But these little trailers weigh just around 4,000 pounds. And actually I've got, my black tank is full and so is my gray tank. I need to empty them as soon as I get to the next campsite. But, so I can't use my floor jack that pumps these up really fast. I have to use this little 8-ton bottle jack. And it's a pain in the neck because everything isn't oops. Can you hear that? That's the brake is rubbing a little bit. The guy that fixed it at the tow company, he didn't do a bad job. But one of the things they do is they take everything out of here and then they smooth down the spindle, because the spindle gets marred up from the heat. And then they put new bearings in there, and then they just cover everything with grease. And it's not the way you put grease into the bearings. The bearings have to have grease inside. And let me get a set of bearings and I'll explain this to you. Kila get. Alright, apparently I didn't have the extra set of bearings which I thought I had. When I bought this trailer, I immediately took the tires and the wheels off and checked the bearings, and they were dry, so I put new bearings in. Having believed that probably they were driven dry, since I drove it home from South Carolina, they were probably damaged. So I put new bearings in them, and I bought them through Amazon. They probably weren't the best bearings in the world. The best bearings in the world are Timken's, and I didn't buy those because they were twice as much, and I figured these probably last a year or two. So far they didn't, but I think the thing that killed this was the same wheel that died the last time, and I think that what killed it the first time was the really bad road. I think I had the tires up to pressure, up to around 60 pounds. I never drive my tires at full pressure because they just make them so hard. It makes them so hard, and they just take so much. I mean, there's no shocks on these, so I don't want them getting shocked through potholes and stuff. And going through Texas, it was pretty bad, so we didn't we kind of think that's what happened. But this is your standard grease gun, used everywhere, and you put this on the little nipple here and pump, and then spin the wheel. Excuse me. Still not up high enough. But when you pump this, you get a little tiny bit of grease out of it, and that's about it. So you got to pump this 20 to 30 times to get enough grease to actually grease the bearings. So what I did is I bought this electric grease gun. The problem is it's broken, brand new from Amazon, and it's broken. I believe it's used. And I bought this locking thing so I could do this the way I want to do it. But you have to spin the wheel while you're pumping grease. It's got a pressure release valve that seems to want to leak. You got to release this little lock. This locks the shaft. So when you load a cylinder of grease in here, you have to pull this all the way back, and it locks up. And then you screw this cylinder back on. This whole cylinder comes off. and then you have to release this lock so this can go down and push the grease into the gun. Hi. Ooh. I think I might have used up all the grease in this already. It takes, you're filling up so much space in there with grease that it takes practically a whole tube of grease. And just a little tiny bits coming out, not much. So I think I need another tube of grease. Yeah. Be right back. Should have brought my paper towels, I guess. This is the grease I use. It's Lucas Red and Tacky. It's a pretty good grease. It's got a high temperature, 540 dropping point. I believe that means that's when it melts and is useless as grease. But it's for farm equipment and heavy duty trucks. Let me bring you a little closer here. And what you're doing when you're filling this up is there's grease coming along the outside. Let me get a new paper towel. Stay over here. The grease will get pushed through the bearing and come out around the outside of the bearing. And this is the old grease. It's all burned up and everything. I don't think they cleaned it out. Now anyone with half a brain would be doing this with gloves on. I never said I had any brain. I have a kilo for that. But everything's so greasy and slippery. Gloves are a nice advantage. These are wonderful gloves. I got these from a sales rep I used to work with when I was working at but here's the tube with the grease in it. You can see it's open on both ends. You open both ends and stick it in here. Then you pull this thing back. You don't hear the little piston going up and down. Usually it's going chicka 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 chicka. Just sounds like the motor's going. I think this is broken. When I got it, it was all greasy. I had to clean it up. And so I think it was used. I don't see any grease coming out of here yet, so get a paper towel. See if anything comes up. A very small worm of grease comes out. So I guess it's putting grease in, just not very fast. At least it's not leaking out the nozzle, which is what happens when you do a regular one, because every time you pop it, the nozzle moves around. Oh, there it comes. See it? So we'll clean that up. It's all dirty grease. Ugh. Bad grease. Burned grease. Now when they did the car, when they did the trailer at the tow lot, they did use red grease. Now there are a lot of different red greases. There are two kinds of grease. There is lithium grease, and then there's a grease that's known as soap grease. But they don't mix. They don't play well together. So you got to know what kind of grease you put on. I always use Lucas, and I always use the red and tacky. And if I'm doing something like this, I usually would clean this all the other stuff off and make sure it was the same grease, just so I don't have any contamination. But when you do this, this is so easy, and it really does do a good job putting grease on the inner bearing. But you do have to keep the wheel moving. See it coming out? See, so it's pumping through, which is good. And it's not coming out just because I'm turning the wheel. It's coming out because I'm pumping it in. Would be nice if I could get some new red grease to show up in all this black ugly stuff. And that grease is so ugly, it makes me suspect that I probably had gone too fast or done something to hurt the grease and the bearings in here. And really, I probably should change the bearings, but I think if I pump enough grease in there, I'll be good for another trip anyways. I'll let you know. You'll see the next in about 2 or 3 videos. I'm going to Florida in November. And I'm hoping that over the winter, I'm not going anywhere in the winter, I'm staying here. In the winter, I might change the axle. This is a 3,500 pound axle. This trailer weighs just about 4,000 pounds. Gee, it spins real nice now. Now, one of the things you should look at is you should look behind the wheel and see if you've blown out your seal, because when you're pumping a lot of grease in here under pressure, like when you do with a regular grease gun, it can all pile up against the seal in the back. There's a seal in the back that seals the bearing and the grease on the bearing, and it locks, and the grease is like that. And then you have to screw it back on either this thing or the regular grease gun. That's really what we're doing here. We're pumping through the center of the spindle, and then it comes out a little hole in the back just inside the seal. Now if you pump too fast and too hard, that seal will bulge out, and all your grease will go on the outside of this. This is the brake drum for mine. On my A-liner, there was no brakes, so it just was a spindle cover, just a wheel bearing hub. Let's do some more. I don't want it to drip on the tire. If you have a little kid to help you, I'm waiting for my grandson to get to be 7 or 8 so he can help. He can catch those before they drip and build the pile of paper towels. I think we're getting a little bit of red in the black and ugly stuff, so we might be getting there. Aquila wants you to all know that he's sitting on the other side of the trailer being real good, waiting to play ball. He's not being a pest like I said he was being. He's a good dog. I've been talking to him about getting a puppy, asking him if he would take care of a puppy and teach it to be a good dog like Dakota did for him. Although I don't know that Dakota taught him to be a good dog. Dakota gave him my $200 hiking boots to chew up, and he got blamed for it. Akila got blamed for it because I come home and he had them in his mouth. But I know he was locked in the kitchen and the boots were locked in my closet. So somebody had to walk through the house to the closet, pick them up and bring them into the kitchen for him to chew on. And I think that was Dakota. All right, one more shot. Look at that, nice donut of bloody grease. It's getting a little redder, so it's pushing out the old grease and pumping in some of the new stuff, which is what we want. And I don't have any real specification on how often you should do this. In my case, obviously I should do it every 1,000 miles. And I have friends that say that they pump grease in every time they go somewhere. Hear that change in pump? It's got a lot of red grease in it. I could continue this, but I don't know that it's anything more than just boring to you guys. Now this thing, as I said, this thing is really nice for doing this because you can spin the tire, you just lock that on and you're good to go. And even when you're done, like right now, it's still pumping grease in there. For a bit, it stays pressurized in the tip and in the hose for another tablespoon or so. I think this was $100 and some odd, 140 or something like that. But if it keeps me from having the trailer fall apart on the highway, it's worth every penny. It cost me $1,400 to have them fix the bearings, and $100 for the tow. And I think that was just that's what they thought my insurance would pay, is about $100 for the tow. So they gave me a receipt for that. Now I thought I had a couple of boxes of bearings, but apparently not. All I had were caps. But one of the things you want to make sure of is that you always have caps. because the caps protect your grease. We'll get that on eventually. Here's the old one. Here's the old one. They get beat up and bent up, and they look like they're the same. So this one should go in there if I beat it long enough. We often see these missing at rallies, and that means that those bearings are going to be shot pretty quick because they get dirt and sand and water and everything in. And the grease isn't designed to put up with that. And you can say, but trailers for boats go in water and get nasty all the time, and a boat trailer has what they call a bearing buddy. This thing is full of grease, and it's got a spring on it that pushes the grease into the bearings all the time. So the bearings are always being re-greased. It's called a bearing buddy. These are not bearing buddies. These are easy lubes. Damn you. Mosquitoes. go to the old one. Now what I'll do with this new one is I'll take a pair of pliers and I'll just bend this lip in just a little bit so it's got a little taper to it, and then it'll fit next time. I think that's good. It's a fully greased. Good to have gloves. Alright, now we put the trailer down very slowly. If I was smart while I had it up on the jack, I'd probably take this tire off and make sure it's balanced and everything. Most of the noise you hear is the stairs rubbing on the ground as they come back down to the ground. That's 100 times easier with that electric grease gun though. If you got a trailer you're going to grease frequently or drive a lot, search on Amazon for electric grease gun. This is a Task Star. And actually I saw this on another YouTube channel where they were greasing tractors. Farm tractors. And I said, that sounds like a good deal. Take you all the way down, I guess. This is the jack I carry in the trailer. If I do have to change the tire, it's pretty nice. Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight has these electric grease guns too. But I didn't like the way theirs were. I don't know why. I don't remember what they were. I'll have to go look at them. This is the static display, and that's a big boy. That's a very big boy. There's only one of those still running, and Union Pacific uses it as a working locomotive. Because one of those big monsters will do more than a couple of electric. Let's look at the kiosks. What do the kiosks say? This is the whole Steamtown complex. And it's pretty impressive, if you ask me. It's free to come here. They got rid of the entrance fee in 2017, about the last year I came here. And let's go down a little bit here. Built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works during mid-1920s, 280. That's 2 little wheels in the front, 8 big drive wheels, and none behind the drive wheels. The Reading Company built number 2124 among 30 other engines as a 484 Northern in January 1947. Heavy-duty freight locomotives assigned most often to coal traffic. Their wide fireboxes burned culum, a waste product of anthracite coal. Together, the engine and tender weighed 405 tons and easily pulled 150 loaded coal hoppers. It's a few miles. What the hell is that?